So last week we talked about how Ken Shamrock was being utilized in basically a throwback package, if you will.
Hmm.
I believe it was his match with Malice
Yes,
for the
for
NWA World
the
Title.
yes, the first world title match
Yes,
for TNA.
yes. The first Impact Wrestling World Champion officially recognized is Ken Shamrock, not the first ever Impact Wrestling World Champion, just the first ever World Champion of Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
Ken Shamrock holds that distinction. And honestly, his run would have been a lot better. He had a few big matches, with Sabu, Malice, and I think it was a talent from like Big Japan Wrestling or something like that, or All Japan Wrestling.
Hmm.
And then he was gonna, start a feud with. I think it was supposed to be like a few weeks with Ron Killings building up to their big year-end show with Jeff Jarrett. Well, Ken Shamrock was offered the deal to do a fight with Tito Ortiz in I think it was October of that year. So he dropped the belt to Ron Killings in August and left TNA for good, only coming back briefly in 2004 for the anniversary show. And since then, like, his wrestling appearances have been few and far between. But his fighting career
Hmm.
has been long-lasting, even if it hasn't been all that good. Just 3 or 4 years ago, Ken Shamrock fought in Bellator. He fought against longtime rival Hoist Gracie. I think Hoist Gracie was 50 and Shamrock was 51.
Hmm.
Hoist Gracie kicked Ken Shamrock in the nuts 15 seconds into the match. The ref didn't see it, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it sounds like such a pro wrestling angle. And Hoist Gracie was able to get the win over Ken Shamrock. So, what are you going to do? So, Shamrock is now coming back to Impact. He'll be at the Las Vegas shows next week, which is ironic because we're just getting to the Mexico shows. So they are putting some distance between themselves. The big thing was we kind of got some tips about this. We've been seeing some things on Impact's YouTube channel that makes us think that, hey, maybe Ken Shamrock will come back in. So, Zach, that's a reasonable, sound
Yes.
hypothesis.
Makes sense.
Seeing some buzz about him returning to wrestling, seeing some YouTube stuff. Moose then starts challenging him. Oh my God, it makes sense in the world. So
Hmm.
we're gonna do it again. God damn it!
Oh man, who's it this time?
I want to say for the second time in a year, Impact Wrestling has posted a throwback classic video on their YouTube channel featuring one other than Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. But Chad, you say, why would he return to Impact Wrestling? He hasn't been there since 2003. He's got kick pads older than that. Not untrue. And to which I would say, I don't know. But I will say this. You just brought back someone you highlighted in a featurette package from yesteryear. You're doing the same thing now with the hottest free agent and the most vaunted and celebrated free agent in wrestling history, CM Punk. And you're doing it all in the same weekend where he is literally getting back in the wrestling ring to promote his Starrcast interview. Am I saying that CM Punk will go on to Starrcast and announce he's re-signing with Impact Wrestling? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But would it be fantastic? You bet your ass it would be. Is all this just some giant cosmic event? It's all just a coincidence? I mean, obviously. But am I going to let that deter me from putting over the idea that CM Punk could return to Impact? God, no.
You better not.
Damn the man, save coincidence. CM Punk's returning to Impact. Now let's take this with a little bit of a monochrome of seriousness.
Okay.
CM Punk will not be offered more money than Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega.
No.
That's the ceiling, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Impact has thrown literally seven. If Jericho can be trusted, which I do have my doubts, but if Jericho can be trusted, he claims that he was offered 7 figures for 4 matches, and that Kenny Omega was also offered more money than most other companies were offering to sign with Impact. So if we can read into that, then that means that they would make sure, even maybe a little bit more on top, that someone like CM Punk would get a very similar deal. Is he worth 7 figures? $1 million a year? I don't know. let's be honest, his Drax books weren't really flying off the shelves, and his UFC career was about as exciting as Vince McMahon's bodybuilding federation. Stand back. Sorry. But I will say this: if anyone has the
The chutzpah.
to offer and land CM Punk, it is Impact. Jericho and Omega were this close to signing. Now Omega claims that was more likely to sign with WWE, but again, Jericho's words, not mine. But they also landed Pentagon. They also landed Brian Cage. They also rebuilt their company on a fifth string TV show company in Pursuit. Their stats on YouTube and Twitch, do you want to hear how actually good they are?
Sure.
In the last 7 months, give or take, since Impact debuted on Twitch, they have not had a month where they did not exceed a positive flow of fans and stats and time watched in consecutive months, like in concurrent months. They have been on the up and up every single month in views, subscriptions, subscribers, because those are apparently different things these days, and watch time. Everything is going up via YouTube and Twitch. They have now landed a deal with Fight TV to air their Impact Plus offerings through them as a secondary outlet. And I think that's mostly for international stuff, or for the option for international fans, but they are making money.
Mm-hmm.
They average about, I think it was like $100,000 in YouTube revenue every month. It's about, what, 1.2 some odd $million a year? It's not WWE's fucking $1 million a week for NXT. But it's not something to take a stick at. Like, how many wrestling promotions can make $1 million off of YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I do think there's a possibility that they could land Punk. You know, Impact is a very different place than where Punk was with them back in 2003. You know, Ring of Honor certainly doesn't have the same kind of criteria or clout that they once had. So it's not like, Joe Koff can just walk in and be like, "Hey, Punk, yeah, about that whole David Feinstein stuff. No, Rob Feinstein, sorry. That whole Rob Feinstein stuff. Yeah. How you come back? No, it can't happen this time. It won't happen this time. So if if CM Punk is able to get goaded back into wrestling, I would not be surprised if it's by Impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What say you, sir? Solid rebuttal.
The Punk coming back for Impact, I could see, because one, it's not the WWE.
That's obvious.
Punk will never step foot back in the WWE. I feel like that's pretty easy to say.
That's fair.
So I could see it happening. The only problem is, if the question is, does Punk have that itch to actually get back into wrestling for at least like a match or two matches or what have you? Because I believe he's said on multiple occasions that he has no love for professional wrestling anymore. Would I like to see Punk back in Impact Wrestling? Of course. Absolutely. That would be Punk returning to Impact Wrestling would easily be news story of the year. Hands down, not even a question. It would give Impact so much press. It would give Impact so many views, if just for the one night to see CM Punk return to wrestling finally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you told me that, if someone tried to tell me that Impact is not interested CM Punk, I call bullshit. Any professional wrestling organization in their right minds with the opportunity to bring in CM Punk for one match would absolutely go for it. CM Punk has this aura, this thing about him, and he's like, this guy was basically, I mean, CM Punk was number 2 in WWE after John Cena.
Yep.
And that's not debate. And then he walked out. He walked out the night after he was in the Royal Rumble match, and then he just walked out.
Yep.
It's this bizarre moment in wrestling history where it's just nobody saw it coming. And then, you know, all the stuff that all these interviews he came out with immediately afterward, you know, he's going to UFC, he's lost all interest, all love in professional wrestling. He's done with it. You bring the CM Punk back, everybody's talking about you instantly. So
I also
I
don't
would
think
love to see it, but yeah.
Well, I also don't think that it would be for only one match,
Right.
or a handful of matches. Mm-hmm. If they were to somehow, you know, get him back into it, there would come with some giant caveats. One, I think they would have to give Punk a lot of creative control.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, because are you really going to say that a 40-year-old CM Punk couldn't make for a viable world champion with the way he's taken care of his body over the last 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. He walked away when he was 34.
Yeah.
Like, he had fuck you money, so he said fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's likely that Punk returns with Impact Wrestling, but I think it's possible.
Yeah.
They definitely are trying to show the world that they respect Punk, because Ring of Honor's not putting out old Punk stuff. WWE is certainly not embracing CM Punk. So Impact is, and if that says anything to CM Punk, you know, then it increases their odds of him returning. But here's the thing I know about life. I don't know anyone, and I mean anyone, who has a genuine love affair with something, loses it, and never returns to it.
Right.
I doubt CM Punk will ever stay away from pro wrestling. I don't think that's possible. I think he'll come back eventually. In fact, if you believe some of the reports, he already has. Allegedly, he returned to wrestling a few months back under a mask in just a run-in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Unless CM Punk talks about it, then I don't know what to tell you. But I will say this: Impact has a way of capitalizing or foreshadowing decisions with these kinds of videos. Be it like when AJ Styles was doing a network special with the WWE, Impact put out a bunch of AJ Styles videos. So this does have something to do with CM Punk. It's just to what end? Are they trying to capitalize off the Starrcast appearance, and that's why they're posting this stuff now? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But if at Starrcast he announces he's signing with Impact, I'm just saying we said it first. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.